The show has begun with Connor and Dom. It's the Decon Chamber.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Trekkies and Trekkers, welcome back to another episode of the Decon Chamber. I am your co-host, Connor Trinneer, along with my brother from another mother, Dominic Keating. Today, we are going to talk about Desert Crossing, episode 24 of season 1. We are blessed to have with us the director of the episode, David Straiton. It's written by Andre Bormanis, and the special guest star is Clancy Brown. And David,
big old Clancy,
the voice Clancy Brown.
I never felt so small as I went toe to toe in that scene with him, like trying to tell him what's what.
Yeah.
Well,
David, thank you for joining us, man.
Yeah, thanks, David. So lovely to see you. It's been a long time, pal, and really, it's a joy to see you. And you've never stopped working, and that's you know, in this business, that's something to be commended. Because God knows,
the first episode that you directed for us?
This was your directorial debut on Star Trek.
Yeah, this was it. This was the one where not only did I roll the dice of, you know, as a TV director, you don't have a choice of what episodes you get. You get on the roster and you get an episode that's in this case, it was huge. You know, it was like we went out to Brawley to shoot in the sand dunes.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, thrown right into the fire because most of the episodes were done on stage or stages, plural.
I believe we only went on location 2 times in our entire series, and that
pretty much. I mean, maybe 3. I think the pilot they went to the cornfields, which we didn't go, but
and then Big Bear for anher episode,
which I also did.
Did you do that one as well?
Oh no, not Big Bear. I did the one that we shot. It's later now, would be season 4.
Yeah. I'm trying to think which one that is actually.
With the Nazi.
Yeah, we had the German half tracks, and we had
right.
It was cool. That was awesome.
Yeah.
How did Star Trek fall in your lap, as it were? Was it did your agents sort of pitch you, and they, you know, Rick and Brannon had a look at your stuff and went, yeah, come in and meet us?
Like all things, I think it's a combination of your agent pushing. I think it's a combination of the work you've done, the body of work. And I think it's persistence. I think they keep hearing your name and then, you know, but you had to meet and interview on the show and watch a bunch of episodes, meet with everybody. It wasn't just an offer. So it was like, you really, you know, you had to work at it.
Was Star Trek on your radar?
Was Star Trek
on your radar as a viewer?
100%. First of all, fan of the original for sure, and also a fan of Next Gen. But also, I'd done a lot of sci-fi work up until then, so it was I was definitely in that world, and in some ways, still continue to do a fair amount of sci-fi stuff.
We met on Lorenzo Lamas' show, didn't we? I think.
Yeah, we met on. You and I met on the Immortal.
Yeah,
maybe the best show ever committed to film.
That was a very good nemesis.
And once I'm through with your precious little Kiyomi, it will be your turn to die. Slowly.
Lorenzo was very sweet. He was a nice person to have at the top of that call sheet, and yeah, it was good fun.
100%.
Yeah, it was really. We went to Prague. Do you remember when we did a double banger in Prague? Do you remember that? We went back in time, and I was sort of, you know, lord of the manor in a castle with a big fur cape and throwing people off the parapets and stuff. It was hilarious.
Someone of my stature deserves a worthy adversary.
Let's get on with the episode. So how does this start? It starts with a teaser. We still are trying to get to Riser for our R&R.
Everyone's looking forward to some much-needed shore leave.
But then we get a distress call from Zobral.
Do you answer every distress call you pick up?
If we can.
Played by the big Clancy Brown, who's got to be 6'8" and 250 pounds. I mean, he's a big dude. And we go and help out. So we decide, Archer decides to go and help him.
As we do on Star Trek.
We do.
Also, you know, it's not, we're invited by a really charismatic, dynamic person, and the captain gets convinced
Seduced.
to go do that. And
Yeah.
the other thing that I was thinking of is at the moment, there's something about our particular show that initially the idea that we were going to answer every distress call, like anybody,
Yeah.
and we'd show up and be like, "Hey, what can we do for you?"
Especially Three Hot Slaves. We're right there.
Yeah.
It's always violate the it's all like it's like the prime directive is don't get interfere with any
But
cultures or planets, and all we do is get involved and mess shit up.
because this episode actually is the first time it comes up, isn't it? The Prime Directive. Yeah, there's that conversation between Hoshi and T'Pol about the.
We get invited to dinner, and before you know it, we're accused of taking sides in a war.
I mean, so Zobral and his gang they're warp culture because they've got a ship that docks with us. So I'm assuming we're allowed to, although there is no Prime Directive, but that conversation does come up about the Vulcans first coming to Bozeman and meeting Zephyrin Cochrane and deciding, we're obviously our world is in the midst of some massive war, and they are wondering whose side to take, if they should take sides at all. So this is the first time it's sort of mooted.
Archer gets excited about the idea of going to this sort of desert culture and wants to bring Trip along, and Trip's not had good experiences
with sand
in dry heat.
You know how it sucks the life out of me.
It's dry. It's 105.8 degrees.
Or is it 40 degrees?
Yeah,
he says it's 40 degrees.
It was 105.8 in our language.
41 degrees. It's a dry heat.
Yeah, so you're wined and dined, which is rather amusing, and eating
the essence of the male, chopped and seasoned.
The male testes of some desert
of the male.
Well, keep in mind too, we start off, we just think it's a distress call. They go and help with Clancy Brown's character's ship, which they repair. So it's a slow, I won't say slow, it's a television indoctrination into being seduced to the planet.
Tomorrow, you'll join me in my home. Bring Commander Tucker.
It's at first we don't realize it's in the middle of a conflict, and then of course, like good writing, like good television, and what Star Trek was always good at, and is still good at, is unpacking the story in a way you don't see it coming, because you don't see it coming.
No, there is something off about Zobral, though, isn't there? Always.
Well, he's a little
too
friendly. He's a little too like, I get offended easily, and he's
that refrain of I get offended easily, first said jokingly, but you get the sense that
well, there's something about, like, historically, like you look at what the reactions or relationships were, at least in film, between like the British and the Arab nations. Oh God!
You're going to blame us again, are you?
What? But
it's a recurring theme on this show.
You get this Lawrence of Arabia bit where, like, they're going to withhold a bunch of stuff and they're coming in for a particular reason, and they've got agendas that we don't know about.
Yeah,
we're given a dinner.
Yeah. I mean, so you're seduced with cactus wine, which is rather. I thought that was rather. They pour the wine. I'm like, where do you get wine in the middle of the desert?
It's made from a cactus that grows in the northern foothills.
And then it's explained. And he explains that, and this was a rather
the same place the gravity on the ship comes from.
Yeah. I like the fact that this is the first time that he sort of explains his people's issues with the Torothans, and that they've been, subjugated to a second-class citizen status, and they're forced to wear.
It is called Yirot. The word means to stand apart.
It may as well have the Star of David on it or something like that.
Definitely.
You're forced to wear this to identify yourself as
a lesser class.
A lesser class, exactly.
A caste system.
Exactly, a caste system, indeed. It's fairly, and the fact that Trellit then gets in touch with Enterprise and informs T'Pol that the Zobral and his gang are terrorists.
According to him, Zobral and his men are terrorists.
That was a big word in 2002. Bearing in mind we just had 2009/11, 2001, and that was a big word. I thought that was pretty brave that they used that word and were prepared to discuss that. What did you think? Did you think that did that jump out at you, David, when you read it?
I think it jumps out at me more now how forward thinking that episode was than it did when we were shooting it. At the time, I think I was less aware of the global political system. And so to me, it was sort of good guy, bad guy story versus like really diving into, look, the politics were clear, but I think watching it now, I'm like, wow, that was really
quite
forward
advanced.
thinking.
Yeah.
And also shows you how things don't really change.
No, we've the last few episodes that we've reviewed, we keep saying, wow, these shows were so pertinent and so and still sadly remain so prescient to modern day politics and global politics. It's in one breath it's encouraging that we were in such a sort of hard-hitting show, but in the other breath it's just discouraging that it's still remains
repeating itself over and over and over again.
Kidding.
So we then take a trip. We all get on a bus and we go out to the desert.
Yeah.
That bus trip, this was the very first time I'd ever seen Galaxy Quest because it was put on the screen as we were driving out.
Oh, you mean I thought you meant the set or something, or the no. So you watched the movie.
It was the first time I'd seen Galaxy Quest.
Brad put that on for sure, guaranteed.
That's right.
Well, we just had Tim
Brad's
Allen
our line producer
to talk about the 25th anniversary of it, which was great fun, and it's a great film.
David, were you intimidated at all by the notion that we were going out to the dunes? Those dunes have been used in absolutely everything.
You bring up a good point. When you start talking about the politics of the show, just to take a step back and as a director stepping in, especially a director who I look back now and go, wow, I really didn't know anything about filmmaking. I mean, I really didn't understand as much about storytelling. So a lot of it I would say a new-ish director 25 years ago. How many years ago is it? 20?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
24 years ago.
My God, that's so frightening.
Yeah.
But I also realized, like, yes, I had been directing, I had done lots, but not understanding of story. So a lot of times that when I would go into a show, a lot of it was survival. Like, how am I going to pull this off? How am I going to get this desert sequence shot? How am I going to win over a cast so they're willing to at least listen to a new director who had never worked in the franchise? So you're focused on surviving in a lot of ways, like the logistics and the mechanics of filmmaking, and less about story. Where now it's all about story. I look into the script, I'm like, I don't even care technically how it's being made. I look at what's the story, what's the center, what matters. And those are things I didn't know then. So now it's funny to watch the show going, wow, that sequence really worked. And I really had no idea what I was doing. And so diving into that show that not only was like my first time, it was logistically one of the bigger episodes you guys had done. I mean, that's, going out to the desert, having to, they're looking at me in a scout van, like, who's the new guy? And you have to impress them and speak in a way that, it is a leadership role. And to go to a place where they shot Flight of the Phoenix, I don't know. Pretty awesome. And
was that the original Flight of the Phoenix was shot
yeah.
there? No kidding.
Yeah,
We
went into some like dusty bar that looked like it was straight out of The Right Stuff, like swinging bar doors, and there was all these movies that had been shot, photo production stills on the wall. I forgot what there was. But yeah, I mean, that's like, it's like, hey, new guy, take this huge this project and do something with it. And fortunately it worked out.
I remember
we get basically there, and in the shooting, also within the course of the episode, we start with this lacrosse game, basically.
Geskana, cross between lacrosse and hurling.
Had you done that kind of multiplayer game before, and what that's like to shoot?
I had done I had made television shows for ESPN, so I'd filmed a lot of sports.
Right.
So I was beginning to understand the complexity of filming sports. Shooting it live is one thing, but to then go and do it dramatically, it's like I say, watching the show for the first time. I think this is the first time I've seen the show in 20 years.
Right.
And looking at it going, oh, that was cool. Oh, why did I do it that way? Why am I slow motion? Oh, is that interesting? And it was pretty fun to watch it again. And yeah, there was some good stuff in there.
There really is. There really is. I remember your style of directing was so casual, if you will, hip, shooting from the hip. And I always remember "Go for Dave." Do you still say that?
100%. That's never changed. Go for
Dave. You created a very lovely sort of relaxed energy on the set, and I think that really, as you say, it won the hearts of everyone that was working for you. And
did you rely a lot on Marvin Rush, our DP, for that?
100%. I mean, Marvin and I, that was the beginning of a long friendship. Still lasts today. We ended up doing another series together called Hell on Wheels.
Oh, yes.
And we would travel together both on Star Trek and on Hell on Wheels out to set. So and we also were both into sailing. So I sailed with Marvin quite a few times.
He's a sea. You sail and he sails. Yeah.
Yeah. And watching the fun thing, so Marvin is the other 50% of why that episode for me worked, and I think why a lot of our episodes worked, just because he was so into the story, he was into the craft, and he really wanted to shoot cinema. And I was blown away by that scene, Connor, with you and you and Archer, where the camera's just one continuous move.
It's a one-up, isn't it?
And we shot close-ups, but we were like, I was blown away that
they just used the one-up.
Rick and why am I blanking on
Brannon?
Brannon, yeah, Brannon kept that in, and I felt like that's really cool that they left that in.
I thought so too. It's reputedly the longest. I can't actually confirm this, but it's reportedly the longest scene in Star Trek history. 3 minutes and 41 seconds.
That is unbelievable. I had no idea.
That record, mate. Yeah, it's a beautiful scene. The camera just lingers on the right moments, on the right face, between the two of you, Connor, and Captain Archer, and it's very moving. And in terms of storytelling, it's very immersive. You really feel these guys' plight, particularly Connor. Connor had to do a lot of "I'm really thirsty" acting.
I acted my
must have been exhausting.
But I remember walking that scene with Marvin, and Marvin would hold his hand up, as if he's not this necessarily. He'd just hold a hand like this, and he would just walk it, and he was immersed in the scene. And that, I really liked that he was integrated into the moment. And the camera, I believe it was Adrian who was the crane operator. Also, everybody was in sync in that moment, and it really was fun to watch that again, because I remember watching Marvin doing that with his hand, and there was now the camera's connected to the scene, and for safety we shot pieces.
You did coverage, right?
And then, but it never got used.
Didn't use it.
There's a scene earlier, Connor, when you're working on the engine, the warp drive, we're low, and the camera just kind of goes up and finds you, and then goes. And I'm like, that's Marvin Rush. I love that. I just always like he knew that's like, you don't need to. Yeah, the camera does the work. And you guys do the work. You don't have to do all these shots. So.
Right. He loved it when directors like yourself would, collaborate with him so wholesomely. He loathed it when a director came in and went, "I've got my shot list, just set it up and do it." And then the paper would come out, the
LA
pincers would
Times
go
would come
over, and suddenly it would take Jimmy, 4.5 hours to light that set.
Revenge, my
We'd all
friend,
be in the
revenge.
trailers.
It's cruel.
We'd all be in the trailers watching Judge Judy. So where are we at in the telling of it all? So
we finished the game. We can't. That we're not allowed to go home. We're put in a
well, Archer gets the call from T'Pol that things are not maybe what they seem, and then Zobral gets wind of the fact that he wants a quick exit.
I have just been informed that we picked up a lengthy transmission between your vessel and Chancellor Trellet.
And then you
Can I
can't
bring up one other thing in that opening?
Yeah.
We lugged that space shuttle, the shuttle pod out to the desert.
Yeah.
That thing is
the actual CGI, yeah, right.
No, we brought when they get out of the shuttle pod, that
you
is
brought
the
that
full
with you?
shuttle pod. That thing got put on a truck, driven 3 hours out to the desert, planted,
right,
rigged up, lights, door working, unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Those our show was not a cheap show, and they had they spent money on it.
Yeah, I mean, and also to plant that there and to get the sand all smooth again, and the amount of work it takes to create an environment where it looks like we've just landed and said hello to their team. It takes a lot more work than people think. It's like, oh, you just landed. Oh, great.
Yeah. Archer and Trip don't get to go back, and suddenly remind me why you suddenly go on this walkabout through the dunes. You're trying to get somewhere.
Well, we're attacked.
That's what it is. The Torothans are making their assault, and you're just basically getting out of Dodge.
I don't know about you, but I'd rather take my chances out in that desert.
And then you finally find shelter in that lovely set. That must have been on stage 9, I would imagine. It looks like the wooden sort of, it's a good set. And that's where there's some dirty old water that the Archer manages to try and boil and reload the water bottles.
I think I boiled away anything that can hurt us.
Some beautiful lighting in that scene, I remember, David. Do you remember that? It looked really, it was as much, what's the word? It just had a sense of solace and comfort. That they'd found some respite, but Trip's obviously in a bad way, shivering. I wasn't particularly aware that these are the signs of heat exhaustion, that you're going to get as cold as you are because you're hot. But you're in a bad way.
I'm freezing. Heat exhaustion.
Some nice parts when Jonathan Archer is giving you his water bottle. You finish yours and then he shares his. I thought those were very tender moments.
Take the water or I'll knock you on your ass and pour it down your throat.
I also want to add now, because there's 2 spots. The first place they're put by the group, Clancy Brown's group, and then we have to get out. And that's when those scenes happen on the dunes. And what's it like? Had you ever shot on dunes before? Because there are long shots. There are, we're trudging up the crest and the ridge of these dunes, and they're massive. What was that like to put together?
I mean, it's it's funny because that was a little bit of a jam session with Scott and I about this shot we wanted of, that Lawrence of Arabia walking along the ridgeline of that dune, which is the first shot we see, and we shot that at sunset just before we got that sandstorm.
Yeah,
and the sandstorm came in like real quick, and next thing you know, we were wrapping stuff up and covering things up. But we talked about that, and also when you get out there, you can't help but be inspired. So the answer is no. I had not shot in the desert before. I'd never even been out to that place until we scouted it. And we looked at 2 places. We looked at Pismo Beach as well, in up the coast. But this one promised to have better weather. No clouds, no fog. So second location, and I'd never been to it, but you get there and you can't help but be inspired. And all of that stuff was within 100-yard radius.
Yeah.
Sorry to break the magic of that set. You go this way and you have those beautiful dunes that have the serpentine ridgeline. You go this way and it's maybe a little flatter. So
how did you manage to sort of shoot around the fact that once you've put footsteps in those dunes, I mean, does someone literally go up with a rake and rake them out?
Some of those shots, we actually made sure nobody was stepped in. We set the camera up, and you guys were the first to step into the shot.
First, just get it right and just do it once.
It's one of my fondest memories is when Tripp says, what's that sound? And it's another ship coming in that Archer realizes is going to attack us, and we off camera bury ourselves in the sand.
Yeah.
One of my favorite memories is that, I was face down, I'm buried, I have a little straw that goes out so I can breathe until I hear action. Scott, unfortunately, was face up. So he's buried in stuff. And we did it a couple of times. And I believe the first time we did it, Charles, thank God I don't have claustrophobia, because it would have been a nightmare, either one of us. So straw comes out, action, and we come up. And I believe the first take that we took, we come up and Scott's to turn over and look at me. And like just a cascade of sand comes out of
his nose. Oh, he was a trooper, Scott. He really was. I mean, talk about an actor's actor. He really didn't mind. He loved getting down in the dirt with it all. He really did. And on location, he'd be helping the crew lay, the dolly for the next shot. And got embarrassing at times. He's like, I'm going back to the trailer.
At the end of that day,
get me a Coke.
Yeah. At the end of that day, though, when David, as you said, that sandstorm came, that was dangerous. It was like all of a sudden stuff was flying across.
Really?
It was pretty bad.
Filming's intense at times.
And I remember turning to Marvin, who also was a helicopter pilot, and I just said, I think the situation is deteriorating. The weather's deteriorating, and I. During that sandstorm, which to your point, Connor, was 100% a real sandstorm, I opened my camera case because I kept a viewfinder, I kept a digital camera, a few other things. I had a little mini monitor at the time. I opened that case for just a second to stuff that in and close that case, and it was getting back to the city. It was filled with sand.
Yeah.
It was really remarkable how out there it changed. I'm not even being dramatic. It changed over like in minutes, and I think that was it. We wrapped at that point. I think we had just done that ridgeline shot too.
I believe so. Yeah.
Amazing.
Crazy. It's all coming as we're talking about. It's all coming back. So.
Right.
Hey guys, Dominic here.
Connor here.
And look what we've got here, guys. Oh, Porthos. I know it's a little early.
Ho ho ho!
But the holidays will be upon us before you know it. This is a first of a run of a few new T-shirts that we've come up with, and we hope you really like it. And
we've got several more coming in our catalog on the website, and check those out.
All really
in the
good.
meantime, for the holidays.
Yes.
For the holidays.
There's a vessel approaching from the surface. It's Zobral.
There's one other part we should discuss. Is Zobral somehow has got wind of the fact that Archer has helped the Suliban.
You liberated a detention camp, freed thousands of prisoners.
He has a legend of being this great warrior.
Exactly.
And he has access.
Tandarians, the Tandarians. Got it. And he has this legend of being a sort of freedom fighter, I guess, and helping, disaffected people out of issues and trouble. And
with weapons. He's got weapons.
And they want to use our technology to fight the Torothians. And I guess I'm the one that goes toe to toe with him and lets him know in no uncertain terms that that's not our jam, and that's certainly not what Captain Archer's up here doing, scouring the universe and the galaxy.
I'm afraid you've come to the wrong people for help.
All this for nothing.
Which doesn't go down very well, I seem to remember. I remember being absolutely petrified doing that scene with Clancy Brown. I mean, he was, Shawshank Redemption. And, and he's a big dude. And
He couldn't be a nicer guy.
He couldn't be a nicer guy, absolutely. And he's got a booming
toe
voice.
so much as toe to chest.
Yeah, yeah, really. I mean, he's literally looking at his belly button for most of the scene.
He is a big guy.
He is a big dude.
But also story-wise, that moment, the technology story, like, hey, you've got something that we don't have that you need. To our earlier conversation is really the introduction of the Prime Directive.
Right. Yes, it is. Yeah, and
because
it's
it asks the question, what happens if you've got something that can really help us and change the balance? I mean, let's face it, Enterprise could end the war in a second.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And what's our role in our exposing ourselves to these other cultures?
Yeah. Yeah. So you're nearly dying of heat exhaustion, and you play this game. He tries to keep you awake, and you don't want to talk about the warp reactor. That's his first ploy.
Well, I don't know how to because I'm so out of it.
You're out of it, but you'll talk about prime rib and mushroom gravy, and mashed potatoes,
dessert,
pecan pie,
and then you play the game, the geography game.
And then I say Rhode Island.
We're going to Rhode Island?
No, it's a game.
Which apparently was a scene, I found this trivia, was a scene that was lifted from Fight or Flight. They took that out of a scene that was originally in that, between Archer and Travis. And they love, recycling scenes. And so, yeah, that was interesting.
David, how many were you, having not done an episode of Star Trek before? Do you remember what episodes you were given to watch, or were you given episodes to use as a sort of a tone of which to go from?
I think I'm pretty sure I watched every episode up until the one I directed.
Did you?
Yeah. I tend to, especially on a new show, I'll watch everything over time.
So you watched a good 20 episodes. We were deep in the first season by the time you came along. Yeah.
100%. But yeah. I'll watch everything, if not most of everything. Keep in mind too, each of those episodes came on a VHS tape.
Yeah, right.
Which yeah, you end up with a stack of VHS tapes. But no, I'd watch everything. And I learned from on another show I worked on, Charmed. And I learned that having watched everything paid dividends, because an actor will say, first of all, you know the mythology or most of it, but also someone will say something like, I wouldn't do this, or maybe I wouldn't. I'm not saying watch shows defensively, but one time I was like, I wouldn't do this. I said, well, actually, in episode whatever, you actually did do this, and it was like, oh, okay. And again, it's not trying to it's not a win or lose. It's just knowing. The more you know, and the more you're immersed in the mythology, the better.
Right. And it's a very good point. Like you may think that in a particular scenario, I wouldn't do this, but then you look back on, and with you having the experience of seeing those episodes, you see that, oh yeah, right. So I would do that. It's almost akin to, we've been talking about this a lot, like for instance, in the world of theater, like you get an Ibsen play and you can't figure out how you're supposed to get this scene right because it's very it's new, it's hard, it's difficult, but then you realize that's your job, is as your character to find your way through that thing.
And that's that, by the way, that is a whole exciting, really interesting conversation of work, developing text, turning text into action on stage, and what our respective roles in it. And I've learned a lot since all of us work together about developing scene work and what matters and what our roles are. And sometimes you're right, Connor, that sometimes it's like, I may not as a director know the answer, but I need you to figure out how to get there.
Right.
Tom Hanks talks a lot about that.
Who does?
He's like, know the text and have an idea, I believe is the quote. And it's, I've worked with some difficult actors where they're fighting you on process. And it's like, I'm running out of time. we're having an in-depth conversation about a scene. You want to be respectful to the acting process and the actor's truth. And yet at the same time, it's like, I need you to have an idea because I have to get the scene done. And I don't quite know how you go from A to B. I'm not sure whether it's physical or emotional, but it's like, at this juncture, I need your help in getting there.
Yeah, I call it going to get a bag of nuts. Go get a bag of nuts. I'm going up. Why am I going over here? I'm going over to
get a bag of nuts. And don't bump into the furniture.
That's right.
I know, David, I mean, you came up, you know, really from the ground up as a director, didn't you? I mean, did you start as a PA?
I did.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah.
It's not like you went to directing school or anything. You literally started in film, you know, running with the walkie-talkie.
If they gave us one, if we were lucky. Yeah, no, I was a PA in commercials, and I probably worked on 100 commercials. I went to business and economics school. So how I ended up here, I'm not sure. Remarkable.
Yeah, really. I mean, and then Star Trek. I mean, you know, it was a big production, and you're working with a crew that have been together for 16 years, some of them, and
unbelievable.
That must have been a joy, I think. I mean,
amazing,
yeah.
amazing. The besides the fun of working on the show was really well produced. Mary, Howard, and Brad did such a great job producing that show in a lot of ways. I won't say 9 to 5, but I don't know if you recall, sometimes on a Friday we would wrap at say 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and the Buffy the Vampire Slayer crew would be walking to work. We'd be leaving and they're going in for their whole night work, you know, the Fratter-day. And so the show was a real pleasure to work on. And I learned a lot later because ultimately I started producing television shows, and I learned a lot from Mary and how she ran that show to perfection. Like, she knew if a script was too long, she would push back and say, we can't shoot the script, it's too many pages. She really had it dialed in, and I always respected her ability to produce. So there was like a lot of great learning. Plus, I'm working on Star Trek. How awesome is that?
Yeah, really. I know,
we were a well-oiled machine. You know, we had the same crew, the same producers, I think, for the most part, who were on set. They'd been together for, 15, 17 years.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. It was well-oiled. And as you say, Mary was, she could be hard, but she was always fair. And as you say, she had a very innate sense of what was, possible and not possible. And
later, when you work on shows that are kind of, they're sort of a runaway production, they're just, there's poor time management, or there's poor, there's interpersonal situations. She had that thing under control, as best as, in the best way. And then you see something that's not that, and you're like, but how come we were able to do it over here, and over here it's a completely different experience. So I still reference her as someone I've learned a lot from as a producer and as making TV shows.
Yeah,
she's a lovely lady. We had her on a past iteration of our show, and she was just great, and it just brought back so many fond memories. And one little bit of interesting trivia, I don't know if you remember this, but there were 3 visiting sailors from the real USS Enterprise that played engineering officers. They must have been in the scene, I think, that one with you and Scott in the engineering before you went down to the planet. And I half remember them being there, and they presented Brannon and Rick with a plaque from the USS Enterprise as a sort of, thank you. I liked the fact that our show did a lot of those sort of little things. We did Make-A-Wish and stuff like that, and we'd often have visiting, little celebs come on. Yeah, it was nice. I liked it. This is the only episode that John Billingsley was not in, which I found surprising, given that coming back from nearly death, there would have been a doctor scene, but maybe there was one and it got cut out. Do you have any recall of that? That there was a sick bay scene and it was just like, we don't need it. We haven't got time to show it. I don't
think we would ever shot anything that would get completely cut out, but I mean, a whole scene. I don't remember
Anyway.
John. You're right. John was not in that one for sure.
John is not. It's the only one he's not in, and yeah, he's
Outrage.
he
One
always.
of the things I did like about this episode that in television, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that typically you're just going to show literally every step that goes through the episode. And there were scenes, for instance, the obvious one is when Archer and Trip go from seeing the ship to being buried and then coming out of it. That to me seemed like an unusual and really effective sort of just skip in time that, we know they dug a hole. Great. They dug a hole and they're okay. But there seemed to be some of those elements in this episode that I really appreciated.
I would completely agree. I actually have nothing intelligent to add on top of that.
Is that a way in which
I was keeping quiet just in case there was some sort of
No, I got nothing. I got no nugget there.
Is that a way in which you work?
I don't think it has to. It's funny because I'm looking at how that was written and structured, and it was a lot more linear than I think we would make a show now. I think we would ABC that story a lot more.
What does that mean?
You wouldn't. I'm sorry.
What does ABC the story mean?
Okay, so we've got the prime adventure, which is Connor and Scott's journey.
Right.
Then we would dig deeper into what's happening on the ship and that story, and that there might be other complexities that would be layered in. So, for example, let's say the ship was having its own mechanical problems. So now you've got a ticking clock where the ship is also in jeopardy. It's like they got to get back because we're running out of time. We have a problem. We've got machinery issues, and there's an interpersonal problem on the ship. And so that would be the B story, and that would accelerate. There'd be more of an accelerant to the time telling, to the audience experience of that energy and
the prime story, right? This prime story needs to be sorted out because of what's going on in the related stories.
And then the C story might be something that's serialized, like, if we, it's like Archer's I'm just making this shit up here, but Archer's at risk from Starfleet Command of losing his command because he's been fucking around in all these missions. So that's just another, and that might be thrown into story where Jolene's character would say, look, we've got to, here, and she would accelerate that story too. So all of these things all those cylinders would be firing, and I think that would be more. I think if we were making the show now, those would be more. Plus, if we were on streaming, we wouldn't have 42 minutes. We'd have 55 minutes. Right. So we'd have those B and C stories.
It was always the constraint, wasn't there? The 42.
100%.
Yeah, it's a tiny amount of time to tell an hour-long story, really.
100%.
What's your experience working in streaming versus network shows?
Well, I think in a lot of ways, network is still in that way where the stories are simple or more simple. It's, boy, I hear these things that always depresses me. It's like, it's what they call now 2-screen television, where somebody can be watching their phone or ironing or making lunch and watch a show, and it doesn't matter if they miss the details. The overall experience, and I'm going to use the word experience, is they still know that Magnum saves the day. Right. They still know that the team from Blue Bloods is going to solve the crime.
Yes.
But that's what they call 2-screen. I find an absolute insult to the work we all do here.
It's background, to whatever they're doing, as you say, in the kitchen. I've witnessed this.
Yeah. And where if you're watching Slow Horses and you are 2-screening it, or you're in the kitchen and you miss an important detail, you're going to have to do some serious catching up.
And to that point, when the final sort of wrap up of this episode is, Archer wouldn't have minded helping Zobral because he thinks his cause was worthy.
The irony is, I have the feeling his cause is worth fighting for.
And yet, T'Pol advises him that that we made the best choice in staying out of their conflict, and
not before blasting the enemy, though.
No, agreed. There is, yes, that's true. I mean, we do have one. Malcolm gets to blow something up.
But it's interesting, like he doesn't leave our episode not considered. He's still considered a terrorist.
Yeah.
You know, and Archer has this, you know, moral, ethical struggle about one, what we're supposed to do, prime directive, and two, his own personal feeling about, you know what? They have a point and they could use some help.
Yeah. But is it our place to do that?
Right.
You know, that's one of the good things about Star Trek. It leaves the decision in the audience's lap and their mind's eye as to what we might have done or might not have done. Because so often, you know, we found ourselves sorting out, you know, someone's SH1T and then moving on to the next planet to lay down the law there. And that I think that was a sort of.
I find it interesting that whereas you see in the other series, they've already got a really, like, you know, set prime directive, and we're figuring ours out.
Right. Yeah.
As we go along.
Yeah.
And this is one of the episodes that I think begins to cement that for not only our show, but I guess linking us into the franchise.
Because it's Starfleet that comes up with the prime directive, isn't it? It's not the Vulcans that sort of insist that this is the way to go out into this galaxy. This is something that we, you know, dictate to ourselves eventually.
Eventually, Captain Archer will have to create some directives of his own.
You did a great job. They loved what you did, David, obviously. And was it? I can't remember how quickly they had you back, but you came and did about 4 for us at least, didn't you?
I think I did 9.
Yeah, you did a lot.
God, well,
I think I did 9.
If
they
you
were
don't
really
mind,
generous.
we're going to get you back in the chair one time to talk about another one.
They did, yeah. They were happy, and I remember when I came back and Scott. I don't think he'll remember my name. Like he goes, "Oh, here comes the Desert Fox."
That's nice.
So he was still like kind of like, you know, because actors, as you know, I'm sure you guys did when I first walked in, was like, you guys size up the director. It's like, is this guy gonna do a good job? Is he going to get us home on time? Are we gonna be in trouble with this director? Is there going to be a personality clash? You know, all of those things. And as a, you know, so I'm sure you guys were doing that. So
I never did. Did you, Con? Did you ever?
Well, no. I mean, I'll say why. One of the things that you said earlier here was about, you know, ways in which you were not going to treat people and behave.
Right.
And you know, look, those were not easy shots. I didn't think. One, you know, we were in the desert, we were in the dunes, and we were offset, and you know, you made it seamless, and you're always fun to work with.
He's very fun, isn't he?
And that goes so far.
Yeah.
It goes so far.
Yeah.
And you also have the you know, the intellectual ability to, you know, challenge to make a scene better.
Right.
And
in fact, the love of, frankly, your love of the craft and of the act of storytelling always shone through, David. I'll say that about you.
Yeah.
You've got a great heart, big heart, mate, and that always came to set. You know.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
It did. And I remember, for me, having known you from previous shows, I think did we do Special Unit 13 after Star Trek, or was it before Star Trek? I can't remember.
Wait, Special Unit 2?
Is that what it was called? Special Unit 2? I'm thinking about Warehouse 13. I'm getting mixed up. Is that what it was called? Special Unit 2?
Yeah, Special Unit 2 definitely comes after, because
right, that was after the fact. So yeah.
Are you finding, because really what we're doing now is solely auditioning at home on our own cameras, that, for instance, you know, we don't have the wonder of casting directors, specifically for like guest stars, was that, you know, they could give notes based on notes the production had given or the notes the director wanted, and that doesn't exist anymore. And so somebody does 30 takes of something, sends in 2, that may say one thing, but they get on set and they're nothing like that, or they're not easy to work with, or
Well, yeah, it took them 27 takes at home to get that take.
right. But what's your experience with working with actors who have
From tape.
from tape versus, the casting process?
Yeah. Do you always cast off tape now? You never meet in person.
Unless like this pilot that I just did where we did a chemistry read, and so that was a back in person experience.
Right.
But with tape, it's a whole different experience, because if you get through the first take, and I don't think first of all, with tape, you see they'll shotgun you with 20 auditions. So back in the day when it was in person, the callbacks may have been 5.
5, yeah. Right.
So now it's that filtering process has been removed. So the casting director is not filtering as much.
Right.
The casting director may see 100. That person sends you 20, but it's still a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's hard, and some people don't get a chance, because you're like, not only is it 20 tapes to look at for this one role, there's 20 more and 20 more.
Yeah.
And everybody's starting to weigh in, and you're looking at the email chains where it's like, I like this person, that person. And it's like, can we just give this a few minutes so we can all process the auditions and really weigh in? Because people, look, people's careers are on the line, and you want to give people a fair shot. Sometimes you look at an audition where within the first 10 seconds, you're like, so
right. Not this one.
Not it.
Yeah.
And that's tough too. Because I recognize all of the prep, all the work, wearing the costume, because sometimes they put something on that they want to.
Right.
And then some people are like hanging in a doorway, poorly lit, and they roll and they're literally hanging there like, yeah, what? And then they get the part because they're good.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Right.
And a lot of time, and then some people are just like on a couch, and their friends auditioning on the phone, and yet they'll get that part too. Sometimes not lit well, or in the back of a, I don't think how they're shot has ever had any impact on whether they get the job or not.
Really, I mean, it's funny you say that, because I've had a couple of agents say that it's important now that you light it well, and
Here's what's more important: good sound.
Good sound.
Because everybody watches on their phone.
That's it. I got the mic. Yeah.
Good sound. Good sound's what matters.
Yeah.
Makes the picture better.
Well, I don't know. You and I should work more, Con.
Yeah.
I know that much.
Both of you guys are great actors. It was really fun to watch this. It's very fun. Like I said, I have a really hard time watching my work. And generally, the last time I watched it was when I delivered the director's cut. Sometimes I'll see it go to air. Sometimes I'll see it on the air. But in this case, I don't think I've watched that episode in 20 years.
God bless. Must have been a treat.
It was really fun.
It's been a treat going back and looking at ourselves after all these years. And, they are different chaps on the screen to who we are now. And, but it's been a joy, and remembering the camaraderie and the, just the scene work ethic we had with each other. And we were a good cast, and,
great cast.
And we had a great guy at the top of the food chain. Scott couldn't have been better. And, yeah.
He was the captain.
He really was.
He was the captain.
Captain of the show, captain of the Enterprise, and just an all-round good chat. Yeah.
I produced another show where a young actor was becoming not only was he number one, but I learned from Scott that being number one isn't just the guy who's got the lead role in the but being number one is also flying 10,000 feet above all the crap.
Yeah.
Not engaging, because I worked on a show where the star of the show was engaging in fighting with other cast members, because everybody was young. And we actually flew to LA together, and we hung out for a weekend. And one of the things I said was, and it was always Scott's leadership, which I had in the back of my mind, was being number one is more than just having the name at the top of the call sheet. It's a leadership and a responsibility. And one of the things that I saw him doing, and this was one of my second producing jobs, was watching him engage in kind of trench warfare with other actors. And I'm like, dude, you got to get above that. If you want to be number one, you got to behave number one. And Scott is that person.
Yeah.
And is a good role model.
You're setting a bar that everybody has to reach. And that bar can be anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Hugh,
so that when he does say,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say that, so when Scott, then there was one or two times Scott would actually lay down the law on the set about something, and it was usually safety issues, and whoever was directing that week knew that, this is he means this, because he never did. Yeah, he was very amenable and charming, but when he did lay down the law, he was real. Yeah,
100%. And I mean, Scott, I put Scott in the same category as, Hugh Laurie. He walked on set.
Right.
Hugh was always number one. There was never that set was very much like Star Trek. It was always professional. And then Freddie Highmore, same, very different person, but again, he just commanded respect based on his talent. And again, that show was very like Star Trek, like you guys, very professional, and consequently fun to work on because you felt you had freedom and there wasn't a lot of BS floating around.
Yeah, because there's nothing. It's like working in a restaurant. Otherwise, it's a lot of fucking all that
100%.
bitching around. And it is. It's not unlike working in a restaurant. So what's the show you're working on in Vancouver right now? You said you were location hunting when I tracked you down.
Yeah, so I'm doing a new show. Well, just to backtrack, it's funny I watched the credits for Star Trek, and I'm like, man, we had a lot of people on that show.
Yeah.
There was hundreds and all the behind, obviously on set and all of the construction and fabricators, visual effects, camera, really beefy departments. And now shows are getting smaller and leaner and meaner. Like the world, things are bifurcating into sort of the halves, the big, fancy, expensive shows, the Game of Thrones, the big
Marvels.
network shows.
Yeah.
And then there's sort of these scrappy, sort of done for a price shows, and that's what I'm working on now. So it's a police drama. It's called Blue Skies, and it's it's a police drama. Very 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 fun, but not super edgy. But the lead on it is really engaging. This woman named Scarlett Hunter. And that's what when I saw the audition, I'm like, that woman's a really interesting actor. I'd like to work on that show. And she's Australian, Canadian, very sort of unique look, but just really talented. So that's what I'm doing. And not a big budget.
This is the pilot you're setting up right now?
We did the pilot already, so I'm back for the last block. We're finishing the series. So it's about a cop that works in a park. She works cop, park, dogs.
Giving out dog tickets. That's such a Canadian show.
It's the thing is, it's an American show, and it's a park you definitely don't want to, like. In this park, there's murder, there's missing people, there's
needles, the whole nine
money.
yards.
It's terrible. It's like Sodom and Gomorrah, the park. But no, it's a terrible.
Stanley Park?
No, actually, the thing again, even though it's low budget, we're still, we're shooting north of the city, beautiful settings, almost all our work is outdoors, so it's in the mountains. And we were just scouting north of Whistler as well. So
wow.
But it's it's because of the technology, things get smaller. We can do a lot more with digital. We do all aerial work with drones now. So there's no helicopters, there's no crane. We do everything. We got 2 steady cams. I mean, it's real rock and roll, but it's fun.
Well, I still have a British passport, just so you know.
Guys, 100%. But
Yeah.
Connor, you mentioned like theater. Is that what have you been doing a lot of that, or have you been?
I haven't done a play in probably 7 years. It's time to get back on the boards. I really miss it. It's really where I feel most comfortable, oddly.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well,
It's just kicking around the block and seeing what comes out.
yeah, we're doing this. This has been fun. You know, this podcast is it's getting legs, and I mean, it's not making us any money particularly. It's paying for itself, and it keeps us, you know, gainfully off the street. And
really, our goal for this podcast, it's been somewhat of an evolution that we really want to be, you know, a connection to our show. We're the only ones doing a podcast really or the actors, and we want to do every episode. And with, you know, bless you for coming on, having opportunities to get people who were involved in those specific episodes is really vital to us. And we want to have that library to be connected to the show itself.
Yeah. But yeah, then now we just want to make sure that we're the commentators of our show rather than someone else, frankly.
Yeah.
And who else have you got lined up? What about Jolene?
I've tried several times, mate.
Yeah. Really?
She married 0.5% of the 1%, you know.
No, I'm well aware. We stayed in touch for a long time, her and I.
Did you?
Yeah, her and I. We stayed in touch for a long time. I will say I did cast her in an episode of House.
Well, that would have helped.
Yeah.
So, but
that's great. Yeah, we're shortly going to have Linda Park on. We haven't had her yet.
Great.
We had, like I said, we had Rick and Brannon on, and to get Rick to do, it's just like this. Dom, apparently, the 3 interviews Rick's ever done,
I know, for us.
2 of them are us.
I know.
Wow.
I know. Yeah, he likes us.
Yeah.
And it was great. We had them on to talk specifically about Shuttlepod 1, which was their, you know, the big show that we did with the 2.
I love that episode, by the way.
It's a great episode.
I still refer to that as one of the great, well, first of all, it's a great bottle show, but really well executed.
Yeah.
And that director's name was David
Livingston. Yeah.
And okay. I don't know what's happened to David Livingston.
He lives around the corner. We're friends, and he came to the wedding, and he's a photographer. He did do quite a lot of Getty work for a bit, but I think ostensibly now he's pretty much retired.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just living his life. I see him walking around with his partner Dorothy and their dog.
Okay.
Yeah, but
he was a very, very talented director.
Very talented, good eye.
Amazing, and I love that episode. So that's to me one of the best, just beautifully thought out, and you know, could have just been a dog, and it turned out fantastic.
Thank you.
And really great. Yeah, well, retired. What the fuck is retiring? I mean, shit. I feel like I'm just getting started. I still, you know, doing shit, producing, and
I'm amazed because I mean the amount of work it takes to direct an episode of a show is phenomenal, and it's tough work. Not least the hours and being on set and on your feet all day and all night.
Scouting, all the other stuff.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's physical. No, I know it's tough.
How many shows can you do a year, Dave? Can you do 5, or is that just too many?
So my height, I did 10, and then now this year So I produced a movie in the summer, and then this year I'll have done 4 episodes, 4, maybe 5.
Wow.
So it's not bad. And you know, I'm less interested in sorry, let me rephrase that. I like episodic directing. However, I'm also doing a lot more producing. So I either sell a script every year, or in this case, I produced a movie this summer, which came out really well. I didn't direct it, and then I'm producing and directing a movie in the spring of next year. So I'm doing a lot more producerial stuff versus journey, like, you know, I don't like the word journeyman, but you know, going from episode to episode. That was fun, and it was a great career and exciting. But now I really am only interested in the producing thing, just because it's more rewarding. I like being on a show for a longer period.
All right, and being the sort of cog master, putting the cogs together, and yeah.
The cog master, exactly. That's the job. But also, you know, it's fun. Sorry, go ahead, Connor. I apologize.
No. I was agreeing. That sounds great.
Yeah,
well,
and nothing else to say apart from we're both available. You sound like you're working a lot.
No, I love it. I'm glad we're reconnecting, and both you guys are talented. So I'd love to work with you guys again.
Thank you, mate.
Likewise.
Well, when you get back, make sure you.
I'm tracking you guys down. It's not even like we're gonna have lunch and you know, like we're doing it because
we're doing it.
It's really important, and I want to see you guys. And you guys are a really big, important part of my career. So Star Trek is huge for me, and I always think about it fondly. I mean, and I learned so many great lessons, and you know, we could talk about this all day long.
I know. I just remember being delighted when I heard that you were coming on. It was like, wow, this is you know, wow, this is the Hollywood I dreamt of. You know, of knowing friends, as it were, that are now coming on the show, and it was really heartfelt. Well, bless you, mate. It's been a great chat. Have a great time in Vancouver, and stay away from. What's the name of that hotel? Satan Place.
The Slutton Place.
The Slutton.
No, you could get chlamydia just walking through the door. Easy, just like jumping here. No, I'm actually I'd stay away from there. No, for sure. Lots. I have great Sutton Place.
When you sign in, they give you a little vial of penicillin. Just in
They give you a whole bodysuit. When you guys do the Sutton Place Hotel podcast, please include me. All right, guys. I will see you in December. I will see you all in December.
And have fun in Vancouver. And go play Stanley pitch and putt for me.
All right.
Yeah. I got 2 holes
guys.
in one day.
Thanks. Really fun.
All right, love you. Ciao, ciao.
Okay. Bye, guys.
That's a love.